Until the beach season has come, there is still time to lose a couple of extra pounds, but you need to do this, trying not to hurt yourself. And in this video we will look at the smart scales from Huawei, which not only weigh, but also collect a whole bunch of different parameters of the body. To be precise, 11, including the pulse, probably in order to see how nervous you were when you looked and saw an extra kilogram on the screen of these very scales. It's a joke, if anything, of course. In fact, it is thanks to these 10 parameters that you can lose weight or gain weight without harm to the body. And Libra, algorithms and applications from how help to do this as simply as possible. Let's get to know them. The white box inside contains nothing but the device and documents. There are not even batteries that are needed to power the scales, so you will need to purchase them right away. But at least the manufacturer promises up to 180 days of work on one set of 4 3A batteries, provided that they are used no more than 3 times a day. Please note that this indicator may decrease if several people use the scales at once. In my opinion, if I am not mistaken, the scales allow the use of 10 users at the same time, and the device administrator can also allow other users of the Huawei Health application with a Huawei account to use these scales. But the presence of the Huawei Health application and the Huawei account is a prerequisite for the full use of these scales to the fullest, so to speak, but I'm already a little ahead of myself. But for now let's take a look at the body of the scales, the display and materials. The design of the scales simply cannot be beyond the original. There is hardly any space for creativity here. It's a white thing with tempered glass on top. There are also metal electrodes. Thanks to them, the scales collect data from the user's bare feet. That's right, if you stand on the scales in socks, then most likely you will get data only about weight, which of course is not as interesting as, for example, the percentage of fat and muscle in this very weight. The lower part is made of plastic, and I really like the fact that the legs made of a material similar to rubber have a fairly large area and look reliable, because my old scales from another manufacturer have a very weak point. They have small legs, the elastic bands on which are constantly peeling off and getting lost. It is necessary, as you can see, to farm, from which, of course, the accuracy of measurement suffers. At Huawei, I want to believe that everything is fine with this. Absolutely nothing has happened to the legs for at least a week of use. The display of the scales is bright. Here, after you get up, weight data is displayed on them. After a small calculation, the percentage of fat appears, and after that, the user's pulse rate. That is, even without a smartphone, you get a lot of information. In addition, the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connection icons are visible on the display. A separate emphasis should be placed on the word Wi-Fi, because not all smart scales are able to work with it. More often it is Bluetooth. And usually with other scales it turns out that if you do not pick up a smartphone, do not launch the application, then the data from the scales will not get to your smartphone. Huawei Scale 3 has everything made for people. I don't need to take a smartphone in my hands at all. I don't need these extra 150 grams to my weight, and Wi-Fi data turns up in my account in less than a second. And after weighing them, if desired, you can view and analyze them. In general, if you have a choice, to take a smart scale with Wi-Fi or only with Bluetooth, then you probably already understand my opinion. Bluetooth sucks. The first connection of the scales was very fast. This is because I already have the Huawei Health app installed, and, of course, I have a Huawei account. Well, for those who will do it for the first time, the connection process will be longer for exactly 2 of these actions. Download the application and create an account. In the application, scales and fresh user data after weighing are displayed among the connected devices. There are basic settings here, for example, weight units, and you can also add a guest here by specifying his data. Weighing data is available on the main screen. From here you can go to the details of this data. For example, to see the level of protein in the body or to find out the level of basal metabolism, that is, the number of calories needed by the body per day. And this is very important, because with a lack of these same calories in the diet and with active sports, muscle mass may begin to decrease, because the body will receive the missing energy by reducing it or, as they say, eating its own muscles, which, you will agree, is undesirable. A more general understanding of the state of the body is provided by indicators such as body mass index and body fat percentage. Important indicators: the level of internal fat, The amount of water in the body, bone mineralization, without fat mass are also displayed in the application and with a detailed description of each indicator. On the graph, you can see the dynamics for a week, month or year according to 3 main indicators, and also in the form of a list, you can see the entire history of weigh-ins, where the average indicator, the percentage of fat, and the amount of muscle tissue in the body are immediately displayed, which very clearly demonstrates the change even without switching to graph mode. In short, I like the scales. A little later I will definitely take them for myself. As you can see, I have something to work on with my indicators, there is something to strive for. Naturally, I do not treat the data collected by the scales as the ultimate truth, because these scales are not a medical device with verified ideal data. I rather treat this data as a kind of guideline that is worth paying attention to and which will help to be a little healthier and, for example, not to eat pasta at night. As always, I try to answer all your questions in the comments, put likes, subscribe to the channel. Who hasn't done it yet? Well, Roma was with you before the new videos. A small postscript, for this review, I wanted to lose a little weight by jogging and cycling, but it so happened that I caught a cold, I had a sore throat, runny nose, fever, in general, not the time for physical feats. I had to postpone it all a little for later, and therefore, as you can see in this review, the data of my progress is quite dull. Such things. Subscribe.
Подпишись на мой канал. Подпишись на мой канал.